All right, restarting.
I only do it every Halloween at my witch council. That's typically when I get them.
Okay, all right. This thing is huge now. Okay. All right, so we're back. I just
Oh,
toned down
excellent.
on the resolution. Maybe that will help a little bit.
So
but-
filtered,
So
Chandler.
yeah.
So anyway, so that was the first thing I wanted to get out of the way. So in relation to the NASL thing, which is what everyone really gives a fuck about, Jeff's criticisms are absolutely valid. By the way, again, I couldn't agree more with him. In that I personally felt that something should have happened faster. This was a monumental occurrence in StarCraft history, and it did feel almost trivial. I was completely unsatisfied by NASL's fucking version of events, which was like, it was the most pathetic. I've read better and more thorough graffiti on toilet walls. Like, it was.
Oh my god.
No, seriously, it was pathetic. It was like, it was cool while it lasted, maybe, but now we're out of.
Bad. They're like, when
No,
a player
it,
leaves,
it,
it's always like, we wish him the best of luck. We thank him for his
Yeah.
time. Just couldn't reach an agreement.
it
It's always
fucking
that, and that's more informative than fucking like, hey, we made StarCraft and we had fun. Goodbye.
see ya, and they just faded. Like, see ya, what money? See ya, what future? See ya,
Exactly,
and
right.
they fucked up. So I totally get why people were, unsatisfied with the explanation of events. So I started investigating the story immediately, man, because like, look, for all my faults, of which there are many, I see it every Unfiltered. I don't know anything about StarCraft, and I will not deny that. Guys, your game is alien to me. It's alien. I don't understand it. My primitive, shiny brain
God. Okay.
doesn't fucking understand it. So I'm sorry about that. Like, I can't tell you why Protoss is Imber, or I can't even tell you the names of units. Okay, like, I watch it and it's a glorious fireworks display. But what I care about is the community and the scene and the players and the organizations and everything that feeds into the game. So I started writing about it immediately. And immediately, one of the first things I uncovered was ESL had purchased ESS. And that was a factor in NASL, whether ESL want to acknowledge it or NASL want to acknowledge it, it was totally a factor in NASL shutting their doors in the manner they did. So I was like, okay, well, I'll just fucking report the story. And then ESL were like, we'd rather you didn't say anything about this. It's really going to harm our operations. It's going to harm our expansion. And it wasn't like they said we won't work with you in the future. They just said, like, do us a solid because we've worked with you for years. And they have. And ESL are my fucking bros. And they run great tournaments. And I go to their tournaments. And I've called Carmack a piece of shit. And everyone loves him. And I'm one of the few guys who said he's a hack journalist back in the day. And they still let me into their events. So they love me. They treat me with a reverence I get nowhere else. So I didn't want to shit on them by revealing that piece of news too early.
Okay, sure.
So people can say I operated from self-interest. I didn't get paid to do it. I would have totally, by the way, generated way more traffic for my website if I'd revealed the secret. I made an executive call not to because of my respect for ESL. So then I'm left with all the other stuff I found out, which, dudes, like, what do you want me to tell you? Like, Jeff knows it. The reason Jeff is pushing my buttons is because he knows half of this shit anyway. And be under no fucking illusions. Jeff knows. Jeff knows. Any American StarCraft players knows what a fucking shambles NASL was. How unprofessional some of the staff were. And I am going to tell that story in due course, believe me. But what I need is I need to get credible witnesses. I need to get credible testimony, if you like. Let's treat it like a criminal investigation, because certainly some of it is criminal.
Okay.
So I need.
Criminal.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not like, well, yeah. Okay. So I need guys to go like on the fucking record, and then I start interviewing people, and they can't go on the record because they've signed NDAs. And one of the things when NASL died was they made everyone fucking sign an NDA, so they're NDA'd up the ass. For those that don't know, NDA is non-disclosure agreement. Just so I'm not jargon in your fucking brains, but like it blew my mind. For the first time as a journalist, people say, I can't tell you shit. If I tell you shit, I ain't gonna get paid. It could affect my future employment. I could get sued, blah, blah, blah. So it was a super difficult story to report on. The good news for Jeff in particular, but for all of you, is that I feel we're at a stage now where, especially after Jeff's post, me and Rod at On Gamers, that slasher, we actually had a talk about how we were approaching the reportage of the story, and I think Jeff's going to go a different way to me. I think we're going to produce two very different pieces, which are ostensibly going to tell the same story, and I think that's hugely important for the future of esports journalism, and probably wouldn't be possible without this sort of level of discourse. Like, you know, are esports journalists doing their job? Are we doing it the right way?
Right.
Why haven't we reported in a timely fashion? So I absolutely admire and respect Jeff's passion for sort of taking us to task over that. It's a lot nicer than some of the other ways we've been hauled over the coals. Indeed, Jeff's employer, Alex, has certainly been a bit more vociferous in his pursuit about what we should and shouldn't be doing.
You have my respect for using that word, by the way.
Thank you. I'm amazed they got it out after this many years. So yeah, you know, so I totally dig it, right? Like, I totally dig it. But equally, I hope Jeff and everyone else in the community would respect this wasn't a turn over the stone, count the woodlice kind of story. This was unreal. The depths that we're getting, the amount of people I've had to interview, like, as of today, I've interviewed 12 people with all these mad accounts. NASL was a glorious mess.
Well, so let me ask Jeff this. You know, I know you posted you kind of explained why you posted that Reddit thread at this point, but is Richard right? Do you kind of know some of the backstory here, and maybe what some of the reasons why it kind of led to you know, just NASL just kind of shutting down at this point? At least StarCraft 2 wise.
Yeah, I mean, I was there since the beginning.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
That's almost not even relevant. I know everybody there, and we all talk and stuff like that. But like I said from the beginning, and as you alluded to, my point wasn't necessarily to uncover these deep dark secrets, because it is pretty straightforward what happened. There's some other stuff that would be really embarrassing for people to get out, but for the most part, it was a failed.
I've got that now, Jeff. Like,
oh boy.
after you, seriously, like, after you bang the drum, I was like, well, fuck it, let's do it all. So I've got that stuff. That stuff is gonna come out, man, and it's like, you know what? It totally should.
Well, continue, Jeff.
It blew my mind anyway.
It's okay. To me, this is part of the process. Like, esports is riddled, and it's not just esports, of course. It's any industry, but this is the one we're in. We're passionate about. These kind of things will pop up and happen and go bad and go wrong, or they'll go successful. And I feel like people should know the whys of in wheres and hows, so that they're better informed and they make better decisions, and that everyone gets wiser as the process goes forward. There's no tinfoil conspiracy theory. I'm mad at Russ, so I want his empire to burn. Like, it's already down. You know, like, Russ is out. There's nothing to be had here for justice or anything like that. This is more just, I really wanted the community to be hungry for information, and then I'm pretty sure, like, it's hard to rate your own intentions, truthfully, because sometimes you'll convince yourself you have the best of intentions when maybe you don't. I do believe that my intention with naming, like, you know, Rod and Richard in particular, was like, I do want really good journalism. I want that story to happen, and then I want them. This is perhaps completely fucking out of the world to expect, but I want, you know, like digging through financial records and talking to people that were around the people, not necessarily the people themselves, and getting the story out. And that's, again, I have no idea what they pay Rod. I have no idea what they pay Richard. Even if I did know that, maybe it's none of my fucking business to expect that, and maybe we're years away from that. But I like the idea of saying like, hey, try better, and maybe sometimes my hand's gonna get burnt, and they're gonna be like, fuck you, I'm trying as hard as I can. Maybe if you helped a little bit, this would go better, or other times maybe I'm expecting too much, and I'll accept that answer as well. But I still feel like the better world is where people push this along. And I tried to make the post pretty jokey, like Rod in his typical martyrdom way was like, my best achievement is having a hot girlfriend, huh? Thanks, Jeff. That's like how he started. And I was like, oh, Rod. Meanwhile, he's on Skype like, fuck you. Like, I'm going to make this such a good post.
Hard, like.
I know. So I tried to make it pretty, like, with Thorin, like I said, nobody likes Thorin. Obviously not. It was funny seeing people like, I like Thorin. It's like, God damn it, guys. Come on. This is the internet. Let's get used to sarcasm. Anyways, I tried to make it pretty obvious that while I had serious intentions, it was not meant to be like a Richard should be fired. They should find new people.
Well,
like
of course not. Like, I can tell you, I can show you firsthand too. I know Richard's been working on this even before that post. So,
yeah, but here's the thing, right? Like, you would also know, Jeff, man, if I felt offended in any way by anything you posted, like, what the fuck would I do? I'd call you an asshole, yeah, right? Yeah, no, holy shit, I'm not gonna do that. What you posted was completely acceptable for me, and the only, like, I avoided all the cheap shots about, so now EG care about esports journalism, wax mustache, I totally avoided that because I could have done that, right, and I didn't, right, and some of the people did in the thread, and I think he got downvoted, so EG is still fan power, but but fuck, man, like, it's, do you know what's actually refreshing? That there's a player that gives a shit. Because most players I talk to, all they give a fuck about is like, where's my money? Where's my money? And they don't care whether leagues die or survive. They just care about, where's my money? How can I make more money? Money. So like, I totally respect everything in that post, and that's why I responded to it the way I did. Like, I didn't want the community to feel I'd let them down, because God knows I let them down a bunch of times.
Yeah.
With other stuff, and I wish I could. I wish I could be a better reporter to the StarCraft community, but I'm not as embedded as I am usually.
So when can we expect this NASL piece?
Well, my last interview is August the 10th. My last interview is the final one.
August.
Sorry, did I
what
say August?
Fuck?
Wow.
We're gonna have to wait 4 months for this.
Let me have another bit.
Okay.
Sorry.
Or 5 months for this? Oh my god. April the 10th, please.
Yeah,
please.
I meant April.
Right.
April. I've been drinking this Czech lager. It's got, you know what the Czechs are like? They just put anything in beer. So yeah. So I meant April. Clearly I am wrecked, but I meant April. And on August, I think I've got an event. That's the excuse I'm going to use. So yeah, April 10th is my last interview.
Okay.
And after that, like, I can really start. And I've got so much. I mean, look, man. Actually, look. Right, this is just no one screen cap any of this shit. I got all of these. These are my notes. Some of these are just doodles, but like I got a pile of notes next to the computer that I've been working on. Don't screen cap them, because they are just drawings of boobs. But really, for the purpose of this show, I've been doing loads of handwritten notes. That's how serious a journalist I am. Yeah, some of them are blank. I'm just watching the screen cap back now. Yeah, some are blank. Don't screen cap them.
So when is this piece coming out?
It's going to take me at least 2 weeks, I think.
Okay.
After the final interview. But bottom line is, like, look, I've already got the bare bones. And the bare bones we already know about, right? Like ESL and ESS and the expansion into America. Massive nail in the coffin for NASL, whether anyone wants to acknowledge that publicly or not. When I interviewed Torbull just the other day, it was like, oh, well, there was a market opportunity there.
Yeah, I mean,
what does that market? What does market opportunity mean? In esports, market opportunity means you have fucked somebody to death. That's what it means.
Well,
and you take over the space they occupied. That's the business that we're in.
Okay, you can call it nail on common, but I think it was already over even before that. I mean, it's like whenever you leave StarCraft 2, I mean, what else do they have really? And anyways, World of Tanks.
No, they did actually have stuff in the pipeline. That's the fucked up shit. Like, if right, okay.
Well, I think the World of Tanks thing fell through too. Like, so
right, okay. So
ended, didn't fall through, ended.
And again, I don't want to reveal too much about the article, but right, everyone knows the whole World of Tanks thing as well. So, what Wargaming didn't realize, which I kind of told them when I was reporting on the story, was that some of the Wargaming money was going into the WCS. It was like the World of Tanks money was propping up StarCraft, and the minute that got took out, I mean, that was like the big deal. But the fucked up thing is, the whole death of NASL could have been avoided. That's the real tragedy of the story.
Okay.
Like, it could still be here now if it wasn't for. It isn't even a flaw in the business model. I went into it thinking, oh well, it must have a flawed business model. There must be something wrong. The more and more I uncovered, it's not even about that. It was just literally the figures were all wrong. And the reason that ESL were able to come in and take the World of Tanks away from them, which, not explicitly, they didn't go in with a view to killing NASL, so don't think that. But they went in with a view to do the best by their own company, and World of Tanks were way more impressed with their presentation and what they offered. And they jumped at it. So what ended up happening was that NASL didn't offer a good value for money product. That's what they failed to do. So that's the business level. Okay. So I had that story wrapped up ages ago, but couldn't report on it. But man, some of the internal shit, it's gonna blow your mind. Like, I don't even want to say it on air. Like, seriously.
Okay.
Like,
we'll definitely wait
done,
for
Richard.
it.
Announcement.
Exactly.
Well,
how fitting.
How fitting. I learned from EG. But what I will say is, like, there was serial ineptitude within the company, and that was a major contributing factor in the demise too. Long story short, because I've waffled on for ages, and everyone's right, I am way too drunk for this. Long story short, basically, it could have still been here if it wasn't for the way that the people in charge of it operated. Okay. And that's a fucking tragedy.
All right. Well, let's move on. Let's talk about good news, some really great news, in the form of ESL and ESS having this huge announcement. It's kind of like a couple announcements in one big announcement. First off, that is ESL is acquiring ESS, which has been a successful agency for a long time. It's an NA-based agency. It's been doing a lot of behind-the-scenes staffing and working with a lot of the big developers and companies in esports, headed up by Craig Levine. For those of you who've been in esports for a long time know Craig Levine, all the great work he's done in various space. And this is like really amazing. What it means basically is ESL is coming to NA. They're going to be opening a studio in the LA area also, which is going to be run by Craig Levine. So this is pretty amazing, given that NASL is removed, and we kind of been left with this. We've been left with like who's going to be doing any kind of NA, events and that sort of thing in the US in particular, except for MLG maybe. So yeah, I kind of want to get your thoughts on it, Jeff. What's your thoughts on this big news?
I think it's a big deal. One of the top voted comments, I guess, in the Reddit thread was that this doesn't necessarily mean just StarCraft 2, but I think that's kind of a pessimistic way to look at it. Like, certainly this is not a solely StarCraft 2 move, but what it is a stable, reliable company that has been kicking supreme ass in Europe. I think that is a shock to nobody. ESL has been doing great work in Europe in the last year or two in particular, is now investing and coming over to the North America to hopefully do the same. And this is a scene that could desperately use it. We've had great live events. We've had, MLG, IPL, and NASL do great work here. But for the most part, MLG has downsized their StarCraft 2 involvement. NASL is no more, and IPL is no more. So it was getting pretty bleak, and it was definitely on the downward swing, which is always a negative thing. And again, not just StarCraft 2, but really just the North American scene. So for someone to look at that and say, I think we can do something here, let's kick some ass, and for them to intimately, speaking to StarCraft 2, to prop up people like Rotterdam and Nathanius, who are going to, I think, cast WCS NA
Yep.
for ESL in a studio. That's fucking awesome.
Amazing,
one of the
actually.
biggest tragedies was Nathanius was all suited up, had his little briefcase, he was about to leave the Shire and go cast yet again. He had his like fourth move planned in the same year to go be a professional caster, which is what his awesome story has just always been. He's always wanted to cast, but it's just been kind of a nomad experience, a little bit of the gypsy experience for him. But this time it seems like he will have a stable place to put his hat down. So that's great, and it's awesome, and I trust that they'll come over here and kick some ass. I was really, well, I mean, what are you gonna do? It just sucks that like the players are flying to Germany in a week or so to go play WCS NA.
Right.
Like, at least they have a place to play. Like, it would suck if they're just like, hey, yeah, we're just gonna cancel the season of WCS NA. That would be fucking gutting. That would be terrible. But if they would continue to run it from Germany, that would be really bad. It should be in America, and it should be someone doing it well. So this is nothing but good news as far as I'm concerned.
The stadium sounds cool too. It sounds like it's going to have, at least 100 seats. So there's going to be some type of live experience too that people can probably go and check it out. And I think it's going to be amazing. LA obviously is a great place to, really have something that's esports centric. Lots of companies there, as we all know, right? So it's going to be great to have those guys back in LA and casting there and have all the players there. It's going to be cheaper too. I mean, flying players to Germany, that's not cheap at all.
Right.
NA players, that's like probably at least $1,000 a person. So that's going to be really, really nice. And ESL, ESS, they've been doing, so the difference between like some other company coming in and starting something in NA is that these companies have been doing esports for 10, 15 years now, and the people working at these companies have been in esports for 10, 15 years now. So they know what the hell they're doing. They've been doing it for a long time. They've been building their teams like at a slow rate, and they've got great teams there. So that's why I'm really, really optimistic on this and what it's going to mean for US.
They're the success story with WCS too. Again, speaking to the StarCraft 2 community, like MLG's closing comments to WCS was that it was a pretty big burden. It's really, they lost money on it. NASL, as I'm sure Richard will report, one of the things that does come from that he alludes to is that they spent money from another contract to make WCS more viable for themselves.
Yep.
These are all very, very tough realities of the WCS contract. I don't think it was ever going to be a short-term money grab. That's just not the way Blizzard was offering it, and that's not how this works. But with ESL, in the last couple of years, we've seen nothing but a steady improvement in that broadcast. They have phenomenal in-house commentators. They have a great studio. Their events have been some of the most fast-loved events coming up. I think right now, I don't know, there's no way to measure this, but like DreamHack seems to still have, if there was like qubits of heart from the community out there, maybe it's DreamHack, but right behind them, nipping at their heels and giving them a run for their money, at least in my opinion, is ESL, and they could catch them and pass them if and what a great arms race that is, by the way, that we have great fucking events that are trying to be the best in the year. So I'm totally okay with it.
Yeah, I mean, comparing ESL and DreamHack at this point, I just look at them totally different now.
They are
not so much a comparison anymore because ESL's taken the WCS route, and whether DreamHack wanted it or not, but DreamHack still is their own thing, their own kind of, it's still a gaming it's just still a festival in the end, and these esports events that spawned from it have been awesome too, but DreamHack is its own thing. So ESL at this point, I feel like they're about even with DreamHack in my opinion, and they're just continuing to grow that team, and I think that team has proven, at least in the last year and a half, that they're doing the right things. They fixed the debt, right? I mean, they fixed all these all this money that they've owed, and have given them a bad name for a long time, and now they're building this team that has like Red Eye there and Kinniget and all the casters, and Carmack's doing just an amazing job there, and it just continues to grow. And what's cool is that when I talk to these guys behind the scenes or even on the show, and they talk about the way that they make decisions based on spending and that kind of thing, it just I guess it reinforces the fact that they're making smart decisions. So definitely good things. Richard, been quiet.
Yeah, I didn't just fall asleep. No, literally, I enjoy listening to you guys. You're educated on the subject, and I think this is an important subject to talk about. One of the things I wanted to address, it's kind of a side issue, was like loads of people got really upset at the prospect of people who were involved with ESEA and the Bitcoin mining scandal suddenly being involved in ESL. And look, okay, I saw people bringing it up in the chat. So, right, these are not facts. Can I say that? These are not facts, but if you had to say they were facts, these facts I'm about to give you are about as sure as the Big Bang Theory can be verified as a fact. So, we suspect we suspect it's true, but maybe the whole God thing was right all along. So, okay, right. So let's talk about this. So ESEA with the whole Bitcoin mining thing, Torbull had nothing to do with that. This motherfucker was aghast, mortified when it all came tumbling out of the closet. This poor guy, he was the public face and the voice of it all, and he had to come out and say to people, oh yeah, well, the thing is, it was the thing and the thing, and it was bullshit, and it was so awkward watching him do it because he had nothing to do with it. Like, if you've ever worked a job where you've had to apologize for something your boss did, and like the fucked up thing is, it's not even his boss he's apologizing for. It's like a partner. It's so fucked up. So pity Torbull. Craig, look, I'll rip on anyone if they're an asshole in esports. And I'm not even saying Craig isn't an asshole, but on this front, he ain't. Okay? The problem you've got is Eric LP Kane fucking Thunberg. This guy is a shit-eating prick. There is no way to dress it up. He is an incarnate representation of everything that's wrong with esports. He'll take your money and call you an asshole. He is content to rob you. Yeah, sorry. I know. I'm just... It's because you're here. I'm intimidated, Jeff.
Sure.
So, this guy, honestly, I would fucking drive him out of esports. He should be publicly flogged for the shit he did. And he is one of the reasons why ESEA had a lawsuit ruled against them to a total of $1 million, $650,000 of which is being held over if they can keep their nose clean for the next 10 years. It's pretty much all on Thunberg. Like, when they turn their client into something that mines bitcoins, the evidence is there to suggest it was his idea. Well, how can you say that, Richard? Okay, right, cool. So 6 months or 3 months or something previous to that, he publicly posted on the forums making a joke about the client mining, bitcoins using your PC. So it's fair. I would say if it was in a court of law, it's reasonable to suggest it was his idea. However, ESEA decided to go down the route of saying it was a rogue employee, and they pinned it all on the guy who coded the anti-cheat Jaguar or whatever he was called. And again, bullshit, because Thunberg is the brain behind all this nefarious shit. So when he came out the other day, and I know from talking to ESL guys who were like, why did this guy have to open his mouth? He said, well, I own part of ESL now, so I can talk confidently about the direction the competition are headed in. Everyone was like, oh my God, no. Because within 6-7 hours of announcing what they were going to do, they had a PR nightmare to overcome. And that PR nightmare was being associated with this piece of shit. So it was incredible, absolutely incredible that this happened. So I want to get it on the record that, okay, LP Kane, Eric, whatever you want to call him, piece of shit as I like to call him, whatever you want to call him, this guy is associated with ESL. But in the same way that, like, if you want a trust fund or whatever and someone takes over that, like, they're associated with that product. He's got no voting rights. He's not going to influence the direction of ESL. ESL Wire isn't going to become a Bitcoin miner. Like, everyone should back the fuck up and not get on their back, because America needs this and how wonderful it is to be European and offer something to our benevolent American friends. You know, it's great. But like seriously, the American scene needs ESL to expand and expand successfully, and we shouldn't get our knickers in a twist, to use a very British phrase, about things like, you know, or who they're associated with. This is nothing. Eric has got no influence on it whatsoever. Is going to be a very good thing for the American market and American esports.
Yeah, I mean, so can we expect some IEM events or some more IE events in the U.S.? Because we had New York, obviously.
They explicitly said so. They said later this year. We don't know if it's StarCraft 2, but they said that.
Craig said their immediate plans. They said the first thing they were going to do is going to be in April, which I like to call August, in case you guys didn't know this.
We'll start with
that's my calendar. What's a month between friends, right? So, they said there's going to be something new in April. They're going to make their first broadcasting appearances in that month. And, you know, there's going to be a Hearthstone.
Of course.
Well, obviously, right? Because fuck StarCraft. There's gonna be a Hearthstone Pro Series. There's going to be a League of Legends Pro Series, I think, as well. There's going to be lots of stuff in the Go 4 Cup Series. But basically what they're going to do is they're going to open up the opportunities for grassroots NA competitors to have something that's trustworthy, frequent, you know, and that's going to apply to StarCraft as well. But they've also said quite explicitly, we want to have more qualifiers, guaranteed qualifiers for things like IEM. So I think we'll see a lot of very prestigious tournaments in LA. I think an IEM LA is a given now. And they didn't say that to me, but again, I think I feel safe reading between the lines. Based on what they're building in the studio, I think LA will be a major hotspot for ESL events in the future.
Yes,
I
mean,
can I just say it's great news that they got rid of Carmack. Like now they're going to be able to buckle down, get serious. The goofiness time is done. It's real business time. You know what I mean? And I think when EG announces their acquisition of ESL, which then claims ESS, it's going to be a big day for everyone.
When are EG
going
to announce their acquisition of Nathanius?
We actually own all the commentators as it is right now.
I thought so. I thought so. Do you know what? Do you know what? Like, this got fuck all to do with anything, but can you just put this to bed once and for all on air?
Sure.
You know that thing about how, like, everyone, like, saw that joke Apollo made? It's really bugged me. Apollo made a joke about how you punched Stefano.
We talked about this shit.
Yeah, I know, but just
show.
talk about it while I'm here. Just talk about it while I'm here, please. Just put it to bed. Like, no one punched Stefano. If I hear that dumb shit one more time, I'm gonna go crazy.
Oh,
everyone's like, Richard, why broken promises guy? Why haven't you investigated how like InControL punched Stefano in a retirement? And they're being fucking serious. Can we just say that?
There is a fool born every minute, they say. I think it is. Yeah, we talked about it on the show. It's weird that of all the things Apollo, of all the bad jokes he's made, there was a number of people that thought that was serious.
It's so fucking
it's really I it's even reaching to even point it out. So it's like
I know.
It's so crazy.
He's not wrong though. There are people that ask about it.
Oh, I know.
And
I was all
50% of them are trolling, but
I honestly thought that
really dumb people out there.
Yeah,
and exactly. I still get asked about it now today. Like before I came on the show, someone messaged me. Well, are you gonna call Jeff out about punching Stefano? Serious? It's there in my inbox.
The ones that ask you are the ones that believe it. The ones that ask me, I think, are the ones that are trolling. Like they want to solicit a response. But if there's people asking you to investigate, that's not trolling. That's them being like, in some world that they live in, Apollo on a tournament major broadcast would ask me why I punched Stefano into retirement, and then Stefano would retire from a team, not me, because he got punched by me. Like. There's people that live in a world where that's possible, I guess, and it's scary because they pay taxes and they drive cars. And
they pay taxes.
When you get fucking T-boned by a guy that thought it was a red light or a green light or whatever, there's a chance that guy earlier that day was posting on the internet asking around if someone got punched into retirement.
Wow.
Do you know what the good news is about this story proliferating though, Jeff? I reckon that this whole thing with Demuslim can be fixed by you punching Ben into retirement. And you know what? No one's gonna suspect that's what happened.
I wish I had that power. There are people I'd punch into retirement. If getting punched by me would retire them, I would be the sheriff of esports. It'd be so fucking sick.
In control, threaten me.
WrestleMania's
Oh God, In-Control's here. I'd walk around like a golden glove and be like, "You are done."
Oh man. All right, getting back on ESL. So
yeah, sorry.
I mean, in the end, right? This move has to make money, right? In some way, right? So I guess the question is how is this going to make money? Is the American market big enough to, like maybe even from a sponsorship standpoint or whatever, that's going to be worth this move? I mean,
all right, ChanManV, this is unfiltered, not fucking softball.
That's
over the
why.
plate.
Exactly.
What is that? Is America a big enough market for someone to come on
for esports? I mean,
yeah, of course. It's not necessarily just StarCraft 2, but even then, it's the second largest viewing audience to Europe, which passed it up because they've gone crazy in watching stuff. But yeah, of course. If you put on a great American event like MLG Anaheim and some of these other tournaments, you'll still get well over 100,000. You're still going to have very nice concurrence. Investors are American-centric. That's the really nice thing for ESL is a lot of their sponsorship is very European-centric because that's their main broadcasting base. But now that they're expanding to America, they're going to be able to start talking to companies that want to advertise to Americans. And it's going to this is no way I can ever, I'm not in their meeting, so I can't speak to their finances, but it could potentially double the amount of money they have access to. Even just speaking from EG experience, that's how it works. When you get a European squad, a European team, there's people that are more interested in wanting to watch that team, not necessarily because they're better than anybody else, but because they come from a place they're more familiar with and they like to watch them.
Yeah, but isn't that kind of an issue? Like, let's just talk about StarCraft, right? And we haven't had that American champion in forever. I mean, since Greg, to be frank. I mean, we're talking U.S. and we're not talking about Canadian with Scarlet. And if that's the case, and I guess the home crowd is looking for that sort of thing, which in turn means sponsorships in the home, just in the U.S. will then sponsor too. Isn't this a kind of a tough equation for us right now? I mean, is it going to work?
Everybody would benefit from a American specifically being good enough to win tournaments. Absolutely everyone. The tournaments that host tournaments would vastly prefer Captain America USA Apple Pie versus Jaedong as opposed to Zest versus Sue. Absolutely. The viewership is insanely different. You're talking, not specifics, but a weird number would be like plus 10 to 20,000 people watching.
Right.
That's a huge difference. So, of course, is it a problem that there is not an American right now that is reliably threatening to win tournaments? No. Yes. Excuse me, that was kind of glib. Yes, that is a problem. It's nice though because while we don't necessarily have an American, it's a little bit expanded to the non-Korean audience. We're not so USA versus Europe anymore. If Naniwa was winning or Mana or Scarlet or Huck, people are generally pretty excited about that. An American in particular would get a lot more Americans involved since it's such a large singular country. But right now it's more non-Koreans.
Yeah, Richard, what do you think? Do you think this move is going to?
I got to go in roughly 3 minutes, by the way.
Okay,
sorry.
3 minutes.
Yeah.
Real quick.
Okay, I'll really be super quick because I want to talk about Demuslim before he goes.
Yeah.
So basically everything Jeff said.
Okay. All right.
But when Jeff's gone, we'll revisit and I'll give him a real opinion.
Okay. So Demuslim, 3 minutes. Richard, what do you want to ask him about?
No. Fucking do Jeff first, man.
Okay, Jeff.
No. Okay. Actually, no. Because if he goes before I get my in there, it'll suck ass. So, right, I'm sorry to do this to you, Jeff. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Sorry. But do you remember on October the 16th of last year?
October. No. Do you remember October 16th?
Just tell me what happened. I don't remember.
I will tell you. Okay, on October the 16th of last year, I used the word faggot as an...
Boy, here we go. Okay.
There we go. Okay, so I used the word faggot as an adjective. I described melodrama as faggot, yes. Which I've apologized for it since. I still kind of don't know as a British person... I'm really confused whether faggot is hate speech or not. Okay, I'm really confused about it.
Take it for granted, or take it for our word that it is.
Yes.
Okay, yes. I will do, and I certainly will, because on October the 16th of last year, you told me specifically that the word faggot was a, quote, homophobic slur. And then in subsequent tweets, you intimated that you didn't really think it was cool that when people were doing that kind of thing.
No, I very don't like it.
Now,
that was eloquent, but yes.
Thank you.
I very don't like it, sir.
So, in this whole incident with Ben, who is, of course, an EG player and a teammate of yours, the word faggot was used.
Yes.
And, you know, I've got to ask about whether or not you are going to hang your teammate out to dry for the use of this homophobic slur. And whether you think it's as serious as when someone like myself uses it.
Sure. No, I don't think it's hanging out to dry. I feel like if someone is employed by the same company as me, or in Ben's case, is a friend of mine, they can expect an honest answer. Like, that's how you're a friend. It would be disingenuous and it'd be weird for me to be here and be like, oh, it was in private. Oh, come on. Come on. He didn't mean it. Come on. No, it's fucking stupid. It's a terrible word to use. There's way too much trouble than it's worth to use that. If you're really angry at someone, call him a fucktwat, call him a dumbass, call him a dickhead, call him everything other than the lightning rod words that since the very beginning of time, even when I had the N-word debate with Destiny, it's not necessarily that I think this word like summons an angry god and smotes children in their beds. It's just that it does carry more weight with it than other words, and for some people it brings too much. It's just it's not what you intended to do in that situation, so don't do it. It's not worth it. Ben used this word in private, but it's disgusting to see that it's a part of his vocabulary. It's sad to see that he got kind of nasty with that, I guess. It sucks that his dirty laundry was aired, you know, like I've definitely used this word in the past. I've used other terrible words. I've used cunt. I don't like that word either. I know that's big in the British vocabulary, but for us prudish Americans, that one cuts too deep as well.
I'd only have 6 words left if you took cunt. So, you know.
The basic gist of it, and again, I'm sorry that time's so short, but I won't shy away from this. This is wrong. This is bad. It sucks that Major aired this publicly and tried to make it sound like he's a wounded victim. Major's a dickhead. He's actually a douchebag. That guy doesn't like people and then attacks them publicly over and over again. But you kind of give him the benefit of the doubt because it's like he's a child in a man's body, you know. So you don't take it too serious. Ben took this really serious and threatened to beat him with his penis. Like, that was the first part where I was like, okay, this has to be April Fool's. It turns out it's not. They're really mad at each other, and that's what Ben said. Yeah. So it's a stupid situation. It's bad. They both look bad. Speaking from the EG perspective, Ben's going to probably be fined very heavily. He's going to be fined an amount of money that would feed Major's family for like months. Probably not Major, but his family. And man, he will learn his lesson. And if he doesn't learn his lesson, he'll follow the path of Idra, where he's, you know, continuously feeding budgetary money towards Alex Garfield's private life. Not to say that's where fines go, but I like to imagine it. We don't know yet. I haven't seen the paperwork. And what we take away from this is it's dumb drama that's really stupid, and it sucks that it was aired openly. And you can rest assured that when this kind of stuff happens inside EG, you're going to get fined and you're in a lot of trouble. And I'll never defend that kind of language. You can take that to the bank.
All right. Well, on that note, Jeff, I'll let you go, and obviously appreciate you having you on. And now that I know that ITG is not like literally every single week, you know, maybe we can have you on some more.
Yes,
because I always have a great time.
I'm sad that we didn't get Destiny on here, and I'm sorry it's only an hour. I'd love spending time with you guys. Richard, it's a pleasure. ChanManV, it was a pleasure. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, you too, Jeff, man.
And please do have me back on. I'd love to talk more. So thanks,
awesome.
guys.
Yeah, so we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be right back, guys.